Candace, I'm talking to you. The thing you should be most mad about is that Daily Wire lowballed you and you didn't even know. You probably thought that you played it real big with your attorney. Oh yeah, we negotiated out those bad terms, we did this, we did that, and you're realizing in real time right now that you got played by Daily Wire. You got played, and you didn't know it because the next words out of your mouth were they discovered me when I was a young talent on YouTube. Crowder was advocating for your failure. He was trying to protect the next Candace Owens, and you're too dumb to realize it.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. Lots to break down last night. Things turned a lot more personal, a lot more explosive in terms of the relationship, or now clearly lack thereof, between Steven Crowder and many of the individuals at the Daily Wire. I understand the Daily Wire staff's inclination to lash out and defend themselves, and I 110% respect that. I understand Steven Crowder's position. I have some things to say about leaking that phone call. I have mixed feelings about it. I got to be honest with you. You know, as a guy who's had a lot of phone calls with Steven, now I'm like, so it's certainly the nuclear option. I think that's probably the best way I could put it. You know, we all kind of like it when like PV has hidden camera stuff revealed and things of that nature. But things definitely got personal. And I have a second video later today where Candace Owens like directly attacks Steven Crowder's fans. I think it was a terrible look for Daily Wire. Also Google Candace Owens and social autopsy if you want to know why I don't trust her at all. But let's talk about what was released in a short, because everybody else has already covered it. Everybody in the conservative space it's a feeding frenzy, and it should be. I mean, this is big news. Steven Crowder obviously fired the first salvo a couple days ago, Tuesday, I believe, right? And did not name the Daily Wire. I think that there was plenty of reasonable doubt for the Daily Wire to just stay silent. Now, do I think I could? No. So I'm giving advice that I probably wouldn't be able to take myself, but I'm just trying to be honest with you guys, you know. I'm petulant, maybe not petulant, but impetuous, certainly. I'm trying to be better about that, be more professional. But, you know, I feel like if I felt like I was personally attacked, my credibility was personally attacked, I'd want to clap back. A cool-headed, like if they had come to me and asked, what should we do? I would say just leave it be, right? And the reason I say that is because when they clap back hard. Not just the Jeremy Boring video, which I think was in general fine. I thought it was very calculated, but they went hard. I mean, Ben Shapiro was streaming about it today. Candace Owens went off on her show. Then she was on Timcast blasting Crowder. Matt Walsh, Jeremy Boring, Brett Cooper, all these people firing salvos back. When you do that, you are now inviting a counterpunch, right? And that's exactly what happened. Late last night, Steven Crowder released some audio of a phone call that he had recorded with Matt Walsh. And I want to talk about the phone call thing. And I'm interested, what you all think in the comment section down below. I think it's fair to say that I'm always going to, in general, back Steven Crowder because he's an individual up against a corporation. That doesn't mean I agree with everything he says, certainly, and everything he does. I don't feel great about leaking the phone call. I have less of a problem recording it. So when you record a phone call, if the implication is that it's a business phone call, right, and you're going to discuss contractual reasons and contractual things, there are a lot of reasons why you might want to record that. I mean, quite frankly, for your own, kind of sanity, maybe just to go back and, listen, take notes and listen to kind of where things are. There's that reason why you might want to do it. And then like there's kind of the nuclear option where like, you know, hypothetically, let's say you had to go to court for something and, you know, there's an issue of kind of the legal, you know, what was said, what was offered, this kind of thing. That'd be another reason to record a call. So I don't think that there's no reason whatsoever to record a phone call, especially when you're talking about contracts. I've never done it in my life. I don't have these kind of conversations. I'm just a dude in my room with a webcam and a microphone. I'm not signing big contracts. I'm not, you know, I don't do any of that stuff. If I believe that somebody might like go back on something they offered me, let's say I was working, you know, back in the private sector, I don't think there's anything morally wrong with recording that phone call. And the, you know, the emotional response to it from Daily Wire, I don't love it either. But you know, I'm conflicted. I think again, if you had that phone call, recorded and you had to go to court, cool. You'd probably be glad you had it. So, you know, I'm not going to like clutch my pearls over that. Releasing it, you know, I guess here's what I'll say. Okay. Some people who are, you know, really one thing that, you know, if you made it this far in the video, by the way, please leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, hopefully I'll earn your subscription. Because, you know, I am going to try, you know, to be, yes, I lean towards Steven, but like, I'm going to try to be fair here and say that like, I'm not sure it had to be leaked. I'm not sure, but I think that Steven clearly felt that way. You know, like to me, leaking a phone call is like the nuclear option. Once you do that, I mean, there are implications of that for like even future doing business. You know, people that want to do business with Steven Crowder in the future are going to be like, is he recording every phone call I make? Is it whatever? You know, so, you know, even as somebody who's obviously thinking about, you know, possibly working together on something, I was like, you know, normally I don't say anything on the phone that I like would worry about getting out there anyway, but I can't remember every little thing I've said. And, you know, I think him releasing this video, you know, here's like just a little bit of the audio. Let me turn this audio on. Sorry. Good thing I noticed that while I'm recording.
Disconcerting position. No miscommunication. What I'm talking about is you're describing a model for everyone, not just, let's get rid of me here. Everyone, if there's a penalty for being demonetized on YouTube, because your business model requires that be a huge component of it, you need to change your business model or this movement cannot work, Jeremy. I can't imagine my show trying to come up and be beholden to YouTube advertiser guidelines, let alone, I mean, honestly, being beholden from a conservative entity with hard strikes, right, being removed, but let alone being advertiser friendly. We know how broad those guidelines are. They might as well just read, don't say anything offensive, and they change them at the drop of a hat.
I'm not suggesting that the guidelines aren't terrible. I'm suggesting that if making money off of those platforms is part of how you're justifying the salary you're paying someone, then or the fee I keep saying salary, the fee you're paying someone, then when those go away, everybody loses money. You can't pay the same amount with less revenue.
How about you create a different business model?
Now, Jeremy Boring is not wrong here. He's right. If I agree to pay you $100,000 a year based on you earning $130,000 a year potentially or something like that, and you don't earn that, I lose money. There's nothing wrong with what Jeremy Boring said there, but again, it ignores the subscription revenue that you can generate. That, you know, for example, that Steven is bringing with him. You know, 200,000, 100,000 people already, you know, signing up to Daily Wire Plus. That money stays, whether or not he has a strike or whether or not he's advertiser friendly.
People at Daily.
And by the way, the same thing goes for Brett Cooper or anyone else. And by the way, Brett Cooper's name's getting thrown around a lot. She's just like a cog in the machine, you know. She signs people up for Daily Wire Plus because she has paywall content. So if she were to take a strike or get demonetized, again, the money that she generates at Daily Wire Plus does not change. And this is a fundamental thing that Daily Wire continues to ignore.
Daily Wire. There can be no next me if the people at the top with the financial resources are doing the bidding. That's being the arm of big tech. What you just said is, well, we have to play ball with big tech if we want to make money. Well, I don't. Why don't you guys follow a model like I have and scale it? That's what I've been doing since 2014. You know that. Has been trying to make sure, which I thought we were all doing, that we can all flip the bird to Silicon Valley. This is saying we need him and you need to play ball.
I think, again, this call, I have mixed feelings about it. I think that it's important that, look, it's out there. I'm going to discuss it, but I don't think anything Jeremy Boring really says here is that it confirms what Crowder's kind of been saying, including him using language like the slave contract, but he also could have been saying that like tongue in cheek, Talent,
young talent, they don't get deals like
You're right. Benched talent, young talent. These are people like Brett Cooper. They don't get deals like this, he says.
So they don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand.
That you then...
Wage slave. He literally says wage slaves, but like, I'm sure they're paid well. I'm sure they're paid well.
Own.
Well, I own parts of it. I don't own it. They can, when their contract's up, they can still go out and they'll still be famous. They can keep doing their shows, so go do a show somewhere else. They'll be in a far, far, far better place. You help them make.
They actually can't keep doing their show. That's the thing. Because, for example, the comment section with Brett Cooper, that's owned by Daily Wire. She can't just go do the comment. Now, she can go make YouTube videos and she could do a new show, and she will still retain the followers that she got from Daily Wire.
Make them.
No, not long as this contract. This contract owns it in perpetuity even after the contract. You're paying a lease but getting ownership. That's what this contract reads.
On the content that we paid to produce, yes.
That is pretty standard in big tech, which, again, I think that's what, Stephen probably set out to expose. The pushback has been massive. What's her name? Candace Owens, I guess, was already scheduled to be on Timcast, but she had some very fiery things to say last night. I don't think, Tim is in a difficult position here. I mean, he didn't ask her about social autopsy, which would have been interesting. But, I think Stephen did not name names. Daily Wire did not need to out themselves. And now you have this huge mess. You have Ben Shapiro. Stephen Crowder's latest video tragically proves that he knows nothing about business, contract negotiation, friendship, and decency. Some people do feel that way. Some people feel that way. Lauren Chen. I've previously turned down an offer from Crowder. That is true. I've previously turned down an offer from Daily Wire. I don't know. I didn't know about that. But she also works for The Blaze. Lauren Chen has been basically, somebody who's always worked for someone else. She did have her own YouTube channel, but not very long. Matt Walsh, again, lashing out. Here's what I can say. Jeremy Boring, I would play the part where we talked about our kids' Christmas and him buying baby formula for his brother's children, but I wouldn't even know how to secretly record phone calls with my friends. I mean, it's sus, but you were also talking business. I don't really have an issue with that. There's also this thing. This was treated as like a huge, big reveal that Steven Crowder had registered Stop Big Con back in December, and that this is all part of an evil plan for him. Maybe. I don't know. But what I can say is he certainly had already been dealing with the Blaze, right? And he had already, from what I understand, at one moment when they talk about this, Candace Owens says, see, he took that website before he ever was even announcing he was leaving the Blaze. And then Candace Owens also said, well, negotiations with the Daily Wire fell through back in October or November. So, I don't, I think that, of course, I'm going to default loyalty here to Steven, but I don't think anyone looks good anymore. Like, I think Daily Wire may have been able to retain some level of the high ground before they completely like went ballistic today. You know, here's Ben Shapiro going after him. Shapiro's show this morning, by the way, got just destroyed. You know, just absolutely crushed. I actually want to pull it up quick. Because again, here you have, you know, Ben Shapiro saying he betrayed his friends. He wasn't friends with these people. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even live in the same state. As far as I know, they weren't, you know, they would do an occasional crossover. But like, it's interesting. You know, I think the important takeaway is, if I can end this on like a conciliatory note, because I do appreciate a lot of people's feedback, and a lot of people, you know, if you made it this far in the video, people think that I'm not going hard enough on Steven Crowder, and you might be right. I might just be too close to it. For me, my loyalties lie with kind of the guy going against the corporation, but I don't love releasing that phone call. I'm still gonna help Steven Crowder, obviously, and I still ride with him. And I still don't have any issue with, you know, anybody in particular at Daily Wire. My problems with Daily Wire have always been, you know, the same, regardless of their interactions with Steven Crowder. I think what both sides underestimated is the number of people that love both shows, and they're really alienating people. They're really making people feel crappy. And, you know, the mom and dad fighting thing really sucks. And now it's just, you know, if Daily Wire had not responded, no one would even be talking about this right now. I'm not saying they didn't have a right to. I'm just stating the obvious. No one would even be talking about it right now. But now we had Candace Owens last night talking about it, which again, allegedly was already scheduled. Okay. Crowder's doing the media circuit. He's going to be on Timcast Monday. And then I heard he's on that, was it Alex Beckman? Is that how his name? Valuetainment. He's going to be on that show next week. This is not going away. And, you know, I think it will galvanize both sides. But what they're going to lose now is the crossover. And that's the real bummer. I really avoid trying to hire friends or family. I even was talking to Sydney about this yesterday. She works with family. I'm like, oh, God, that's just a recipe for disaster. And maybe they were as good of friends as they say. And maybe they should never have really tried to get into business together in the first place. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out, if there's any more calls released or any more bombshells. But it really is a bummer. And of course, the left is having a field day with it. So that's never good either. I hope you were informed by this video, though. And if you were, please do leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe down below. I would absolutely greatly appreciate it. And we'll talk to you again real soon.